Well, this just beggars belief. Hello, my royal lovelies. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, welcome to my home. I read a headline that just made my mouth kind of dropped to the floor, because I just think it's what a load of piffle and hogwash. My goodness, I go away for 2 seconds and I come back to more piffle and hogwash about Harry and Meghan. So let's start with the headline. I think is always a good start, and then we'll work from there, and we'll try and dissect things and get to the bottom of everything. So apparently Meghan Markle is encouraging Prince Harry to leave the past behind. Oh my goodness. Really? She is encouraging him to leave the past behind? Haven't they made a career of it? Oh, who's even said this load of old... I wanted to say a word beginning with S, but I don't think that's safe for YouTube, do you? I'm sure you can fill in the blanks, my loves. And move on. Really? Move on. I mean, where was this, 4 or 5 years ago? Anyway, because she sees his, and in quotes, brooding as a waste of a life, rather. Well, my goodness. A royal expert claims. Right, who is the royal expert here? Let me just... Oh, Jenny Bond? She's never said that nonsense. Jenny Bond's normally quite a good royal commentator. She's been doing this for years. I mean, I used to watch her when I was a child, commentating on all the royal events. I mean, she has kind of technically been, I suppose, retired from all the news channels, but she still does comment. So I'm interested to see actually what she has to say and what her reasoning behind it is, because just going by the headline, that is laugh out loud. It really is. So apparently, what I said is she's encouraging Prince Harry to leave the past behind and move on. As I said, she is a former BBC royal correspondent. So this is what she actually said, and these are quotes. If Meghan is encouraging Harry to leave the past behind and move on, then I think it is a healthy move. They have made their decision, left the working royal family and left the UK. Okay, there's a key word here, and that is if Meghan is encouraging. So I don't think she's necessarily heard this from a source or anything. Maybe this is Sussex PR trying to reach the sort of fringe royal commentators and trying to try and spin a narrative off. I mean, this, comes off the back of that disastrous Colombian tour. So perhaps is Megsy Baby trying to draw a line under the past, but then using Harry's name, besmirching Harry's name to do so, as she always has done, used Harry and his royal connections to get what she wants. I don't know. But I mean, yes, I do agree with Jenny Bond. If they were to leave the past behind and move on, that would be a healthy move. And it would have been healthy for them to have done so from the start. Just think back to when they had that extended summer break and they went to Canada. This is before they spectacularly flounced out of the royal family with that ridiculous statement and website and all the rest of it. Just think back to that period before the world, really knew kind of what Harry and Meghan felt. They could have just said, right, we've had enough of being working royals. We don't want to do it anymore. That is our right to choose. And to be honest, I agree. I don't think anyone should have a gun held to their head and made to do something they don't want to do for the rest of their natural life. Remember, working royals work until their 90s. If Her late Majesty and the Duke of Edinburgh are examples to go by. And, I can see Princess Anne and King Charles working for as long as they possibly can, in King Charles's case, until his eventual passing. So just imagine, go back in time, we didn't know anything. They could have just left and said, we're not having a good time. They could have still released a statement and said, look, leading a working royal life is not compatible with our new family life. And we either want to take an real extended period of time out, maybe until Archie was due to start school, or we are going to leave completely. And just think what they could have done if they'd have just gone quietly. They could have worked with brands. Their reputation wouldn't have been tarnished. They wouldn't have had all of this bad PR. They could have been a lot more ahead, in this celebrity game that they now find themselves in. If they'd have just not gone down the path of retribution, which is what they've been embarked on. Harry, with all of his legal settlements, trying to get back and settle all these old scores. Very vindictive nature. I didn't, up until all of this, I didn't think he had such a vindictive, nasty, ill-mannered, bad-tempered nature. But it seems he does. I think he did, hide it under a bushel. Well, there were clues along the way. There was that video when he said he hated living in Britain. And, there were signs of unhappiness. I'm not saying there weren't signs of unhappiness. And there were obviously signs of getting to grips with the loss of his mother. But I didn't think he had this completely vindictive streak. No, that was something that did surprise me about him. And I think she's brought it out in him. She's the catalyst in all of this. I think had she not come on the scene, I think Harry would have still had all of his issues with being the spare, or rather not being the spare anymore, because I think he totally resents not being the spare. I think he actually surprised himself, because I think he held a lot of stock his identity was the spare, and then when Prince George was born, that was taken away from him, and I think he lost something that he didn't think that he would miss when he really did miss it, to be quite honest. So Meghan is this kind of, this catalyst, and I think she has pushed him down, or, led him down this path of retribution, when they could have gone a very different route, and I think they would have been a lot further ahead. So Jenny Bond says, and I'm quoting her, "Brooding on the perceived injustices of the past and reliving old quarrels is a waste of a life." And I think Meghan sees that. Again, I agree with Jenny Bond, but I don't think Meghan has suddenly had this kind of epiphany, or this sudden, installation of morals, this sudden compassion. I mean, where is this compassion in action? If Meghan really did have a passion for compassion, then maybe they wouldn't be estranged from, their different family members. That's what she needs. She needs a passion for compassion, which they don't have. Anyway, so I do agree. I think Harry is brooding on perceived injustices, because he does think that he's been hard done to. This prince who's been brought up, in lavish accommodation, having, an £80,000 Audi car renewed every three years at the royal household expense, having accommodation provided. It might not have been a massive mansion that he might have felt that he was entitled to, but Nottingham Cottage, the flat at Kensington Palace, even if it was a basement apartment. Many people in London have basement apartments, and there he is getting all snooty and uppity when someone parks a car in front of his window. I mean, my goodness, you couldn't make it up. Central London location, Kensington Palace, all that protection, all those gardens, and it still wasn't enough for Harry, was it? Still wasn't enough. My goodness, what an entitled TWAT is what I want to say. Anyway, he's had everything, and he still perceives that he's, been hard done by. And I certainly don't think that Meghan is instigating anything of the sorts with regards to him trying to patch up. She can't, literally, if that is true, then that means that she has thrown a bomb watched it explode, and now she's trying to, take it all back because she's seen that it hasn't worked, it hasn't landed. The bomb's gone off and it's blew up in her face, in her sweaty face. Yes. So I think it's just, a big load of complete hogwash. So Jenny Bond has also said that he misses some of his old family life. Now, we've heard, I don't know whether she's heard this through the grapevine, any sources, or whether or not she's just rehatching what we've already heard in the past couple of weeks, that Harry misses his friends, misses his family life back home, misses Britain, to be quite honest. And I think she's kind of rehashing this. But, a lot of people are talking about Prince Harry not getting on too well in the US. On the face of it, you might think, or if you listen to the Sussex squad, they'd have you believe that Harry and Meghan are winning. I mean, this is not the talk of a couple that are winning, is it? So Jenny Bond continues. In his book Spare, that dreadful tone, he writes about his fond memories of some of those family gatherings. And it's only natural that he now misses that connection and perhaps is still considering ways of repairing the damage done in recent years. He doesn't want to repair the damage. He's still holding out for an apology from them, when really it's he who needs to give the apology, the grovelling apology to them. I don't actually know at this point what it would take to patch things up with the king and his brother. Jenny Bond has also suggested that Meghan likely believes that their time within the royal family is now firmly in. Likely believes. Oh my goodness, if this is true, then she is tapped in the head, seriously. Oh yes, it has been kicked into one of the outer orbits. It's literally their place in the royal family is zooming off out past Pluto by now, firing on all cylinders. There is no way back for them. Like I said, even if he came back with, on bended knees, grovelling, I don't think they'd have him back. Not in the capacity that he was before. Let's put it that way. So Harry's friends in the UK have also spoken out recently about the Duke's reported dissatisfaction, saying things haven't turned out how he wanted. Really? I think we all know that. I don't think we need sources or Harry's friends to tell us that. So according to the Times newspaper, one of Harry's oldest friends, who still gets the odd WhatsApp from Harry, said he's an angry boy. Things haven't turned out how he wanted. I think he misses being over here in Britain desperately and wants to be admired more. There we have it. He wants to be admired more. He's not getting the admiration over in the States that he thinks that he should have. Of course, the American citizens, quite rightly so, are a little blasé about anyone with titles. I think there's still a fascination with people from all over the world with the British monarchy. But it doesn't quite hold the same gravitas, does it, Harry? What did he think? Did he think he was going to go over there and people were going to be bowing and scraping and curtsying and, all of this, all the privileges that he had in the UK? He needs his head seen to. Oh, that's part of the problem. I think he's had his head seen to a little bit too much. I think he's a little bit over-therapized. And yes, I agree. I think he is a very angry boy. Although I don't think we should give him the graces of being a boy, because that sort of sets the scene for absolving him of responsibility. He is a man. He's a fully grown, balding man. He's married. He has 2 children. Get over yourself, Harry. Literally, get over yourself. Harry said of his and Meghan's move to California, this was during the Netflix series, "We are exactly where we're supposed to be." But then he added, "I miss the UK." Oh, come on, Harry, you are where you're supposed to be. You are absolutely not where you are supposed to be. You kicked duty and service in the teeth. You literally headbutted it. You should be here in the UK serving your country. That's what you should be doing. The problem is now we don't want you back. So even if you did decide that you wanted to come back, I don't think we actually want you back, my lovey. So while Harry hints at a desire to rebuild relationships with his family back in the UK, could there be reconciliation on the cards? I don't think so. Let's not forget how when he flew over when his father was revealed his cancer diagnosis, all for what, a 45-minute visit? Harry held up the king when the king needed to get on with, having his cancer treatment and recovery. This is not the mark of someone who wants to mend things with his father. If he wanted to mend things with his father, he would have called in advance to make sure that his visit was going to be well received. He wouldn't just hop on a plane and try and railroad the king into doing something that he didn't want to do, because that's what he wanted to do. And also he wanted to obviously save face, because he'd got his own Invicta stuff, hadn't he, a day or so in the future when that happened. So he wanted to not appear that he was doing other work and not caring about the king. It's all very contrived, my lovies. It really is. So the question remains, how do you regain the trust? And no, I don't think Harry ever can regain the trust. A source close to Charles explained to the Times, the problem for the king and other members of the family is the worry that if they have a chat with Harry, it will appear in volume 2, of Spare, or end up in People magazine or something of that nature, because Harry just goes straight to the press, the same sort of press that he says he hates, and that he wants to sue, and he wants to get retribution over. He goes crawling back to them. Remember, it's a symbiotic relationship. The royals are not celebrities. And Harry is trying to have his cake and eat it. And in the famous words of Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. I think Harry's relationship is irreparable. They may be able to get to cordial terms, but that lack of trust is the main breakdown of the whole relationship between the king, William, and Harry. There is no trust, and that is the hinge point of any reconciliation. Trust now needs to be earned, and this is where you start paying Harry. You need to literally do all the things right that you should be doing, if it's true that you really do want reconciliation. But I don't think he does. I think he's still on this cycle of retribution. I really do. And it must be eating him up inside. His heart is black. His heart is black. It's not the same as it once was. And I do think that, what would Diana say, really? A lot of people try and put words in Diana's mouth when she's not here to have to express an opinion of her own. But I do wonder what she would make of it all. I'm not going to try and put words in her mouth, but yeah, I really wonder. And on that note, I'm going to leave this topic for today. So if you have enjoyed the video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and of course do hit that bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.
Touch my pearls, I'm outraged. Touch my pearls, she's deranged. Touch my pearls, what has that woman done now? Touch my pearls, I'm outraged. Touch my pearls. Moon bumps dropping to the floor.